both up in the ride. Science, magic, side by side. Experiments we can't deny. Let's see how high we can fly. In the lab or in the yard. STEM with Lexx, it ain't too hard. We build, we move, we see the spark. Learning here leaves a mark. The science with Lexx, come on, join the quest. Hands-on learning, we're the best. Hey, hey, come on kids, let's do the test.
Hey guys, welcome to Lexx STEM Lab. Today I have a good show for you. We're still continuing with our STEM careers segments. So today I have for you Dr. DeMarcus Robinson. He's going to talk a little bit to us about his experience with oceanography and everything else. So without more ado, here he is. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate seeing you today.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Really excited to talk about my journey in marine science, what I do, and kind of inspire the next generation of marine scientists.
So can you tell us your name? Talk to us about your title and maybe your profession.
Yeah, so my name is DeMarcus Robinson, or Dr. DeMarcus Robinson. The title doctor is I guess it's a terminal title of sorts that shows that you are skilled and masterful in your work that you want to do. And you essentially are leaders in the field and whatnot. And so I spent my early career all throughout school to get to the point where I want to be. So who am I and what do I do? I am an oceanographer. So oceanographer is somebody that studies the marine system of the ocean. So somebody that studies the physics of the ocean, the chemistry of the ocean, the biology of the ocean, and takes all that to try to understand what is happening in the ocean, what are some cool things happening, what are some bad things happening. And so that's what I do. And so my office is the ocean and the coasts, and I enjoy what I do. I think it's pretty good.
Awesome. Can you tell us where you grew up or where you originally from?
Yeah, so I am from Atlanta, Georgia. There's no ocean by Atlanta, well, except for the Georgia Aquarium. There's the ocean in Georgia, but I wasn't going all the way down there, and so that's kind of my connection to the ocean. But yeah, that is where I grew up.
What part of Atlanta?
I grew up in like the Stone Mountain area. I went to Tucker High School, which is a school up in DeKalb County. So I grew up in Stone Mountain and Clarkston. So for just in case there's like Clarkston people watching. And so I was there until I was like 18, and then I went to college, and I went to Florida A&M University where I did my undergrad, and it was a really great experience. Yeah, so went to FAMU, which is in Tallahassee, Florida. I always kind of wanted to live in Florida, so it was kind of cool to kind of be able to go there for undergrad and then for grad school, which is another level of schooling, a little bit more schooling. Then I moved to California, and then now I have a job working down here in Miami. And so I've been all over. Also lived in DC for a year. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
All right. So I'm loving that. So obviously you like to travel.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, especially when it's for free.
If it's for free, it's for me. I love that.
Oh, I'm about to steal that. If it's for free, it's for me.
Hey, hey, sign me up. I'm with it. Absolutely. So reflecting back to grade school, what kind of student do you think that your teachers would say you were?
Bad, like horrendous.
Yeah. Behavior wise or just like all of the above?
Like all the above. I mean, I was good in my classes. I was getting, good grades, A's and B's, maybe a couple C's every now and then, but mostly A's and B's. But behavior wise, I've accepted that everybody has told me that I was really bad. Like I know I was kind of like bad because I remember some stuff, but I recently had my graduation party, so all my church members and church family came out, and everybody got a mic, and everybody was like, "DeMarcus, you was really bad, bro." And I was kind of like, I was like, "Thank you." There was a no, bro. You was
He said thank you. Like, ooh, it's
I was
it's an
like,
honor.
and so no, I wasn't the nice student always, but I feel like we were all bad. So I don't. Maybe we're just
I love that. I love that answer because so was I. So
okay.
it's some people outgrow this stuff for sure. You become something
School me.
greater.
Middle school me tried to chill out because they definitely was like, it was like you go to jail and you get suspended and all this other bad stuff if you kept doing bad stuff. I was like, all right, let me get it together. But then also I started doing band, start being part of the band because Drumline the movie came out, and they had another movie called Blast, which was like more of on the drum corps type of thing. But that was also cool too. So I joined music and I enjoyed it. I liked it. You definitely had to keep your grades up. And then around these people, they was also, pretty smart as middle schoolers and whatnot. And so I kind of was like that, but also I'd never, and I think this is a thing that's transitioned to my older adult life. I don't ever want to, I like to try my hardest as much as I can. I don't like being already considered lesser unless I'm just purposely like, I'm not interested. I'm going to do it. And so I kind of felt insulted when I wasn't in accelerated or in gifted. Because I was like, I was like, I can do that too. And so I started hanging around like some group of folks that became my good friends all the way to now. And so, yeah, it's been like a transition in high school. High school, I was good. I was a good apple. I was a good seed. I wasn't doing all this crazy stuff. I was doing my thing, call it a day. I think the only thing I knew I got in trouble for was when I skipped school. And that was my senior year. I went to Waffle House. I was like, yo,
Okay, Waffle House is worth it though. Like,
yeah.
I love senior skip day. I guess, do you think that as far as you having those behavioral issues, do you think that you were maybe bored in class? Do you think that's what it
I
was?
think I was just curious. Um, I don't think I was bored. I think I was just doing stuff. And
And then once you realize that they kind of put you in these separate classes, is that kind of what made you, did you start meeting your own expectation? Or like you said, you just don't like when people count you out? Did you
pretty
have
much,
harder for
yeah.
that?
Yeah, because
Same.
I think it was like it was very a clear distinction between uh everybody else in one class and then the accelerated group. I didn't really want to be like prep or anything like that, preppy, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
But I felt that I was in a class with a lot of people just very disruptive, right? And at that point, I was like, bro, I'm trying to learn and whatnot. And I was like, I need to be over here, bro. Because same with some of the stuff that we were learning in sixth grade, I was like, I can I can hang with them folks. Like, and so I didn't do accelerated. I didn't get accelerated. I think it was like no, I did. I forgot how it works. I know I didn't do gifted because you have to test into gifted, but I think I just did accelerated because you can put yourself into that.
Mhm.
And then when I got into high school, like I said, I just want to kept trying myself. And I started doing AP classes. So I did AP a good majority of high school. I think only one of them I really tried to pass the test, but the other ones I was like, I'm doing for a higher GPA. But yeah, because it was just like it was kind of like birds of a feather flock together. I seen my friends doing AP. I was like, I'm doing AP too. So yeah.
Well, getting into that, what was your favorite subject in school?
Oh man, definitely like biology, chemistry, earth science. Like we can go knee deep into that. That was my favorite subject. Just because you learn about the earth, you learn about the science. They made science look cool. Um, I had a teacher named Mrs. Brunswick, in high school, and so like it took chemistry. I don't think it was AP chemistry. I think it was just regular chemistry, and you'll be just doing chemistry experiments in class like you were in college. And you'd be writing equations and you're solving stuff, balancing things. But she definitely taught it like a college class, but she made it so interesting. So remember that. I remember doing like we had this we had to do like different science fairs, and one of our projects we had to do was like what's your favorite planet or whatever your planet was. So I chose Neptune. Last minute, I got a styrofoam ball, spray painted it blue. I told my mom, hey, we need to get this stuff last minute. Put it on a black poster board, stuck it on there with some super glue, and just put facts about Neptune, talk about it was an ocean, all this other stuff. So science has always been my favorite subject.
Wow. So I'm definitely going to use that little part about you telling your mom last minute. Definitely about to use that for my TikTok because you tried it. I know your mom was mad.
Oh yeah, she got tired of me doing last minute stuff, man. I'm gonna tell her about that. So I procrastinate a lot, but you remember back when I was in like middle school and I kept procrastinating? It just never got fixed.
So, what would you recommend to the kids now that are procrastinators?
Don't procrastinate.
Thank you. He's like, I mean, yeah, but
Time management. Like your parents might tell you, you need to have time management. You'd be like, what is that? That sounds like some adult stuff. Nah, man. Like that's what you need. Manage your time so your time doesn't manage you.
mm,
That's a sermon.
okay, you need to put that on a t-shirt. Hello, start your little side hustle,
I
a
need to go
business.
ahead and write that down.
Okay, pen and paper. So, what would you say was your least favorite subject?
Oh, math.
Oh,
Math was
without a
not.
doubt, math.
And I
Wow.
think it's really how people taught it. Like they taught it so boringly and abstract that I just couldn't really lock in for it.
Yeah. But you were able to get through all these other math classes necessary to get to where you wanted to be. So how did you manage that? Because these were like hard like you had to take calculus. What one? Did you have to take calc two?
I couldn't tell. I took Cal 1, Cal 2.
And
Uh,
because you're smart. Like,
I don't know, bro. I looked at some math the other day because I ain't did no math in like a year. I was like, what is this? Um, like when we took calculus in high school with Mr. Urban, it was me, Nicole, and Ebony. Well, not even me, Nicole, Ebony. I'll be hit up Ebony like, bro, like, did you do the homework? Like, how you do this? I was not doing great in calculus back then. In stats in middle school in eighth grade, I did pretty well. I think I did pretty good in math in middle school. But when you got the calculus, I think I underestimated it and then I didn't quite understand it.
mhm.
When I got to college, people knew what I was trying to do. And so they kind of just like, you pass. And there was one professor who I think he just passed everybody. He was kind of like, here you go. Um, but it really kicked me in the butt when I got to grad school because I had to take all your hard math classes you'll ever take all your hard physics classes you'll ever take all your analytical chemistry, not organic chemistry. Take that. Put that all in one subject to describe the ocean.
Mm.
That is insane. So I took like atmospheric physics, a lot of math, atmospheric chemistry, math, a lot of chemistry, math, physical oceanography, a lot of math. I took a week of plasma physics, and I was like, nah, this is too much for me. Uh, took chemical oceanography and sediment geochemistry, all these earth stuff that you think is cool, and it is cool. Like you learn about the sciencey stuff. You can go check out Bill Nye, check out this channel. But at the same time, there's some heavy duty math that goes behind it, but you may not get exposed to it until like way later in life. But it helps describe the system and how things work and flow in the most beautiful way.
Mm.
I never would have called math beautiful in the sense of whatever, but it is. There's some nice equations out there that I'm like, oh yeah, I like that equation.
I
So,
love that for you. I love that for you in whatever equation you like.
hey man, look, it does what it do.
Oh, write this down. Come on, t-shirts.
Hey, you know what? I could probably start a little t-shirt business.
Put it on your website. Hello. Yeah,
It's about
doctor.
to be homecoming season, all that stuff.
Yeah, throw you a little rattler on the back, a little orange and green to make you some money, honey.
I'll think about it. If I start selling shirts on my website, I'll let you know.
Y'all, I called it here first before homecoming or anything. All I'm saying is I deserve a free shirt, maybe a plate at the cookout. Sigmas, I do see y'all. So yeah, I'm
No, I
here.
got you, man. I got you.
Y'all
I'll
heard it
look out.
here.
If I drop a shirt, you'll see.
I love that. That's amazing. All right. So what degrees or certifications did you have to get to this position of where you are in life?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I got for my degrees. I got my bachelor's degree in science and environmental science. So that's what I majored in when I got to college. And then I got my master's and PhD at the same time in atmospheric and oceanic science. And so I think I'm done with my degrees and put that over there. And then for certifications, the only ones I really got was for scuba diving. So you got to be certified to scuba dive. And so that was open water scientific and rescue. And then there's some other little things I did on the side that was pretty cool. So yeah.
Nice. And Demarcus, could you just go into detail about, I know you said you did attend FAMU. So
Mhm.
how did you get this major at FAMU? What made you say, all right, marine science? Was that something that you knew you wanted to go into like your freshman year? Or did you have to change your major?
Actually changed my major almost like 10 times in 1 week. I don't even know if you can even do that now. Um, I kind of, like I said, I was interested in science forever. So anything sciencey, I was like, let's do it. But I was definitely was like, I need some money when I graduate. So I was definitely looking at those jobs that was like 100,000 type of stuff. So I switched from engineering. I didn't even attend these classes. This was like before I even started for from engineering. I thought chemical and environmental engineering was pretty cool. So I was on YouTube looking at videos back then. But I remember one of the guys, one of the deans, was like, "Oh, you're not gonna have no life in engineering." I was like, "Oh, I want to do my college thing, man." I was looking at like physical therapy, like all these professions that was like really paying. Um, and then for me, what happened was that I went and we had these like little fairs on FAMU where if you're undecided about your major or if you're trying to see what other majors are on campus, you'll meet somewhere and then there'll be like these colleges that have their tents out. And then at the tents, you can go and go talk to people that's in the department. So I was walking by, I was kind of just still checking things out. I think at that time I was a biology major, but I was kind of there for like a week or two. So I walked past the school and environment booth and I get there and Mrs. Hall is there. She's saying, "Hey, are you interested in environmental science?" I was like, "Yeah, check it out. I got environmental problems at home in Atlanta." And so I told her about my interests. I told her also that, you know, air pollution is an issue in Atlanta, all this other stuff. She said, "Oh, you should definitely submit your application or whatever information to school environment." So I did that and went and go talk to them. And then, on the table they had all these pamphlets and stuff and they said, we do all this marine science and stuff like that, right? And that's when it was like, "Oh, we want you to be part of this program, which is the NOAA. Now it's the NOAA CCME, but now back then it was ECSE, which is so NOAA stands for the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration." Ooh, messing it up, man. And there's a federal agency that does ocean stuff and weather stuff and hurricanes. And so we have a partnership down there at FAMU. And so I was part of that. So it was a really cool opportunity. And so I got to get experience and do a little ocean stuff and meet a lot of people. So that really kick-started my marine science journey.
Fire, fire. And could you briefly describe your career path and kind of how you got to be this after you left kind of marine science? Did you just figure, I want to go more into depth with something specific?
Mhm. Yeah, so I guess my career path in marine science was that, or I guess in science going into marine science, that when I was at FAM, I was doing like chemistry stuff. I was actually working in an organic chemistry lab. And I was essentially synthesizing this material to absorb oil off the seafloor, not seafloor, but off the ocean surface. And so that's what I was presenting while I was in undergrad. But then when I did a couple internships, I was like, "Oh, I want to do marine microbiology, marine chemistry, and just working in the ocean." And so people around that time was like, "DeMarcus, when you go to grad school, you got to focus in, you got to lock in, you got to be specific about what field you want to be or go into." And I was somebody that was very much interested in a lot of things. And that's why I'm really glad I did oceanography because you can have your own focus on like one thing, but that encompasses so many other elements that you can be kind of holistic and diverse in that way and not be so pigeonholed to doing one thing, one technique, and all this other stuff. And so I reached out to a professor and I was like, "Hey, really interested in your work. I love it." She said, "Hey, I'm glad you're interested. I want you to be here." I was like, "Great." And so that's kind of what kickstarted my grad school career. So I was in grad school for about 6 years doing deep sea oceanography or deep sea ocean research. So I was on research vessels or ships. I was in submarines. I was scuba diving all throughout the ocean. And then I did a little bit of ocean policy at the White House for a year. So that's kind of like one of my many fun facts. And then I came back and finished up. And then now I am a researcher, uh, working with some folks at NOAA, um, really understanding fish behaviors essentially, not to get too technical.
Right. I love that. And what are some key skills that you think an oceanographer needs to have?
Oh man, you number one, you don't have to be in the ocean to be oceanographer. You can be what we call like a dry oceanographer, so somebody that does a lot of coding and data analysis at home. So you can visualize the ocean without even ever stepping foot into it. So I know a lot of people I work with, they don't even like going to the beach. So I get that. Some of the skill sets and things you would need, I think a very strong background in math. This is kind of that subject where you take, people always joke around and say, like, I'm never going to use y equals mx plus b, but this is a field where you're going to use y equal mx plus b because you need to use that same equation to understand essentially what's the concentration of different compounds or chemicals in the ocean, right? And so if you want to do any water analysis, you got to use that equation. So very strong science, math background, science background. You don't have to be like expert in it, but having a good idea of how things work. I would say that out of all the math skills, um, was it not trigonometry, but just um, having good arithmetic skills is going to save your life. Regardless if the calculus is bad, regardless if the physics is bad, having good arithmetic and trigonometry is going to be foundational so that you can do the advanced calculus later on and you can just manipulate equations. Nowadays, coding is a big deal. And so trying to, make sure you immerse yourself into the coding language. So what we mean by that is choosing a software, do any of your software. So MATLAB, um, Python, a lot of folks like using R. So these different softwares that you can use to essentially do data analysis. So you have a whole bunch of data and you want to understand what does this data mean. So if I go out there to a pond and I want to see what kind of animals are in the pond and I want to like really understand that, I can put it in, once I do my lab work, I can extract all that data out. So that's what I mean by data analysis. And if you want to do like other high level stuff, having a coding background is kind of what you would need in the future, especially with AI and all the other cool things that are happening. And then just be interested in all aspects of the ocean. Being an oceanographer is not, it's more than just doing the science and doing the lab work. A lot of that is like the policy. A lot of that is community engagement, how people interact and see themselves in the ocean. A lot of that is understand like ocean tech and hence the ocean intersection with energy, right? So there's this big, huge conversation with how can we use the ocean really to this maximum benefit, right? While also conserving the ocean. So making sure that we have fish in the ocean still and all this other stuff. And so really immersing yourself in a lot of those conversations. So just being a people person, just be open to new ideas because this is a field that, every second, every minute, every day, there's something that just changes. And so being open to just new experiences is what's needed.
Nice, nice. And can you tell us right now, what does a day in your life look like?
Yeah, so the day in my life today, well, today was kind of okay, I think. So the day in life is so I get up, I hit the highway, I get to work around like 10:30. So I work at a NOAA lab down here in Miami. Um, One of the first things that I do, I meet with a colleague, and we essentially are 3D, showing a 3D representation of our sample. And so we do some lab work with that for about an hour, 2 hours. Then after that, I will go take a lunch and I'll meet with other colleagues. We talk about what they've got going on. Right now, it's about to be hurricane season. So a lot of people are currently prepping for that and doing a lot of outreach relating to that work. And for the rest of the day, it varies. Right now, it's kind of slow. So I'm doing most of my work inside. And so a lot of that relates to just doing data analysis, sending folks emails saying, hey, what's going on? What opportunities? I went to a couple meetings today with a lot of ocean scientists doing deep sea ocean work. And so they're talking about all the cool instruments they have and all these cool opportunities. And so my day in life right now is very chill. But when I was in grad school, it was a little bit more, I won't say chaotic, but it was very has its ebbs and flows. So like we would go on these research trips for like 2, 3 weeks. And so it takes you about 6 months to just buy everything you need so that you can put it on the ship, because you can't leave the ship once you're on the ship. And essentially you have to replicate your lab on the ship. And then you're on the ship for 3 weeks, get whatever data from the seafloor you get, bring it back on the ship, analyze it, take it back home or back to the lab on campus, analyze it again. Then you spend the next 6 months just really going through your data, seeing what's out there, seeing what trends are out there, trying to make some emphasis about the ecosystem. And then you kind of write it up, right? And so there's like ebbs and flows. Some days it's going to be like really intense field work. And then after intense field work, it kind of just evens out, levels out, because at that point you're just doing data analysis, you're writing, you present it, and then you restart the whole thing over. You know?
Nice, nice. Did you have any mentors or anybody that inspired you along your journey?
Yeah. So in high school, well, just me trying to just the idealism of being great. There was a lot of people that were like in band and drum majors and a band director, all these folks that kind of inspired me to be like, hey, I need to go to grad school, I need to do something, I need to be good, right? When it got into marine science, I don't know, I guess like you when I first got into it in undergrad, there weren't really a lot of people. There were people that I kind of like knew of and would look impressive. But I don't know if I had like a role model type of thing. But mentors, I did have a lot of mentors. So like undergrad was still my friend now. My mentor and friend, Dr. Greg, um, pretty much the entire department mentored me, and now I'm their colleague because I worked kind of in the department. Then grad school was kind of a new set of people that were at the university. And then as I've grown a little bit more as a professional, now there's just people who are in different professions, and I ask them like, how'd you get here? What you do? Any opportunities? What should I do next? And like I have one of my fraternity brothers does energy policy, and so we kind of chat every now and then. And I've told him about like my direction, so he really gives like really in-depth advice, like what I need to do next. And so I think in this phase of my mentorship, it's like stating your ground of who you are, but also like what do you really want to do and what do you want to solve? Um, and then also knowing your worth. That's kind of like the big part of me trying to get out of this hole, is that you've done a lot, still want to do a lot. You need to really uphold yourself to that as well. So
You're holding yourself accountable for what you want. That's nice.
yeah,
And could you just let everybody know what fraternity are you in? I don't remember.
the best fraternity in the world. You can check it out. If your dad is not part of this fraternity, he's just. I'm sorry to tell him. Tell him I said it. But Phi Beta Sigma, the best fraternity in the world.
I love
Constitutionally brown. Constitutionally brown. They be saying this brother stuff over there.
Okay.
It ain't real, but this is real. This is real.
It
Let's
is.
go.
It
Let's
is
go.
very much so. They could never.
No, they can't. They can't. They wish they could, but they can't.
And that's very true. Factual. No shade to y'all if well, y'all know what it is and what it ain't. But yeah, it's real. What advice would you give a student who's interested in pursuing a career in oceanography?
So if you're in states close to the coast, there's about 35 of these states. So Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, California, Oregon, Washington, Maine, DMV area, Delaware, South and North Carolina, Massachusetts, New Jersey. Pretty much everything that's hunched along the coast. These are these organizations called Sea Grants. So National Sea Grant, not National Sea Grant, State Sea Grants. So these Sea Grant organizations, they represent the state. They do a lot of marine science stuff, but they're part of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So if you're definitely in one of these states, definitely try to get connected with them, because they also offer a lot of K through 12 opportunities to really get engaged into marine science that doesn't require you to pay for something. All it really requires you to show up. And sometimes they'll have they may even pay you to do things, right? So really touch home in that. I didn't count off all 35. I know I'm missing some states, but if you type in state sea grants, they'll give you a list. Aquariums are really good places to do some K through 12 engagement. So like the Georgia Aquarium does a summer school every year. So you can definitely touch bases over there. I believe like the Moat Aquarium in Tampa or Sarasota. I think they have some summer school opportunities. So aquariums are really nice places to really get engaged. But you don't have to do marine systems. You can also work in the lakes and oceans. So like the Great Lakes up in like in Michigan, um, you can definitely do a lot of work out there because if you've ever been to one, if you're out there, you've already seen how vast this area is. It looks like an ocean, right? From a chemical biological standpoint, slightly different from marine systems, but overall, it still holds a certain importance. And so you can work in freshwater systems as well. So you don't have to be in the ocean or by marine systems to do that. So I would say just get interested and try to be able to volunteer, ask your parents. That's one. And of course, the second thing and the third thing, second thing is listen to your parents. That should be the first one. But then the next thing after that is really make sure your parents volunteer, or probably parents, academics, then volunteer. So the academic part is important. You actually need to get really good grades. What helps me is that some of the stuff you learn, find a reason on how it relates to like something you want to do later on. So if you're learning about trigonometry or if you're learning about least squared or whatever you're trying to learn, like try to see how that applies to something in marine science or what you want to do later on. It may seem kind of abstract, but a lot of the stuff we learn has a built principle and it helps out to help us understand the environment. And so I would do that. So parents, listen to them. They guiding you through life. Stay locked in, stay good, do good in your schoolwork. Um, do good, so do well with your teachers because they write letters of recommendation for you.
What are some of your favorite hobbies or activities to do?
Oh, that's a really good question. I like to go to movies a lot. I like to do random events around town. When I lived in LA, I used to do a lot of bonfires with friends. So we just get around and just cook and just vibe out by the beach. I like going hiking. Um, I started going to this jazz club. That's kind of been pretty cool. Kind of old manish, but like it's a cool vibe.
It's a vibe. I'm
It's a
feeling it.
vibe.
Okay.
Um, and just different events around the city. Like if something pops up and I think it's pretty cool, then I'll go to that. I think my interest in stuff outside of here, outside of work, it varies depending on what state I'm in. So like when I was in LA, I used to like going to the movie premieres all the time and scuba diving and surfing a bit. I don't know how to surf, but I'll learn how to surf. But now here, still trying to figure some things out. When I lived in DC, I like just going to the museums and all the other DC like adventure in life. So it varies depending on what it is. So very spontaneous.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. So, what TV shows, movies, if there's a book, what's something that you like to really enjoy doing after a long day of work?
Take a nap
Okay, take a nap.
immediately and just lay and knock out, wake up, think if I want to do something else afterwards. If not, go to sleep. I started back watching TV. Uh, I started to finish Prison Break, which is a cool show. Kids don't watch Prison Break. It's not good for you. Um, but started doing that. Watch a little anime sometimes.
Anime.
It depends. It just depends. But when I get home, I take a nap. Just because the day be long and traffic,
Mm.
just get home and relax.
So, if bills and responsibilities didn't exist for you, is there something different you do, or would you pick like a different field?
I would probably be a hurricane hunter, and this is like a recent thing, so it can change if you ask me again a year from now. But a hunter sounds pretty dope. So these are the people that fly literally in the hurricanes on plane to understand how big it is, the wind speed, all this other stuff to really help us describe about hurricanes and track their path. I find it really interesting. I will be a hurricane hunter. but that would have to make me do a lot of atmospheric physics. And I don't know. That's not my favorite aspect of physics. It's cool.
But it's
It's
not
cool.
that cool.
No, it's cool because you can describe a lot of stuff in the most interesting way. I think when you get to certain processes that I find hard to articulate, that's when it gets kind of convoluted and kind of, a little bit too much. Like when they talk about wind shear, and I'm not even going to get into it. But yes, there's some aspects of it that's like, I don't know. But yeah, I would definitely be a hurricane hunter. I think that's pretty remarkable. Um,
Nice.
that's pretty cool. I don't know. I don't think there's anything else. I think what I do is pretty cool enough. I don't want to be an astronaut. I find space to be very scary. Uh, I don't want to do stuff with volcanoes because what if you fall in? It's over. Um, yeah. I've been watching these snake videos. Nah,
He's like,
it's
nah.
interesting. So it's interesting to watch. I'm like, oh snap, this is crazy. This is the most dangerous snake alive. But to actually handle it and they're okay with getting bit. Let me pull off that, So yeah, hurricane hunter. That's it.
Hurricane Hunter. All right, so let's do this thing. DeMarcus the Hurricane Hunter. Let's say this is a TV show. Okay, so if anybody's listening, look, we got PBS, Netflix, Tubi, whoever wants my lovely friend. So let's do this. So let's say you got you a TV show now. What would be the theme song?
Act the Fool by Ludacris. You're going in a hurricane, man. Like, you got to prep yourself up
Okay.
because guess who's acting the fool? You not, but the hurricane is.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny. He said, "Guess who's acting a fool? Not you." Okay, okay.
So that's
I
what I would
love
listen
that.
right into it, and we're gonna paint it some color.
Some color. Is
Okay.
that what you listen to on a daily basis, or do you listen to that like when you gotta hype yourself up, or both?
When I hype myself up, especially during traffic, because that's the thing. I also do it during karaoke. So if I go and do karaoke with people, and I'm really in the mood to really like let's do something different, because everybody go in there and sing. I'm not a good singer. I did Before I Let Go. That was an entirely long song to be singing. But Act a Fool, I can rap the whole thing.
The whole thing. Hmm. Okay, Luda.
Hey
I'm
man, we the
feeling it.
best. Ludacris is the best rapper alive. But
Okay.
y'all sleep.
Thank you for the confidence in that. We appreciate it. I'm sure Luda does as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, what advice could you give to students who might be interested in the STEM field but haven't found a school subject that they connect with or haven't found an area they like yet?
Oh, that's a good question. So if we're talking about like K through 12, usually you're gonna learn like the basic subjects. Like you're gonna learn biology, you're gonna learn about what is it's in cytoplasm, you're gonna learn about the difference between plant and animals, in terms of organelles. You'll hopefully learn about earth systems. You'll learn, maybe about evolution. You learn about the chemistry, the science of that, right? Hopefully you have somebody that's good enough to teach you. That's always a big thing to get anybody interested. And then you're gonna learn about the math. So you're gonna learn all the basic stuff from K to 12, all throughout, that time. When you get to high school, you can do like different specialties, electives, depending on what high school you go to. Now, I know all high schools ain't the same. Maybe you can do something, maybe you can't. Hopefully you learn all the basics. Now, if you don't, let's just say that you don't, you're just a kid that just like, I wasn't a good kid, so let's say that you missed out on some stuff, or whatever it is, right? You always pick up on that stuff in college, community college, regular 4-year college, whatever that is. But then you also have that advantage of learning the basic, but also the more technical stuff. Depending on where you go, really depends on if you feel like you need to get a master's and a PhD after that. Right? So like I did environmental science, but the curriculum wasn't a marine science type of curriculum. And so, of course, like the next step I need to do was grad school. But if you go into a program, really good, nice program that does every aspect of marine science, Maybe you want to do a master's, maybe you learn everything you need. Everybody has a reason to go through school and do different things. It's really up to what's interesting to you. And so one thing I'll say about science is that there's the there's the poster child of science, right? You know, the poster child of science is being a mechanical engineer or being a nurse or a doctor or being a chemist, right? And these are the poster childs. These are the things that are flashy and that's there. But science is just more than that. You can get really into some really niche subjects and topics that still pays well and is still very interesting, right? And so, like, if you want to get into nuclear physics, I don't know why, but if you want to do that, cool. I can't really talk because my boss's boss is a nuclear physics person. Um, if you wanted to really kind of do other things, you can. And so don't be afraid to kind of look into other STEM fields and really kind of go through a rabbit hole of like who's out there who's doing what. The thing that I did was I hopped on YouTube and I was like, what is a day in the life of a, engineer, right? And so a guy that came up there, he talked about what he does, what he doesn't do. And so that's what I started to kind of figure out what careers I want. Those same people had the same conversation we're having now. These are the classes you need to take. These are the things you need to prepare for. And that's what really got me into it because to get to where you want to get to and get that money, which is what we all want, you got to go through the mud of the rigorous classes, unfortunately, but it pays off later on. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, what advice would you give a younger you who was kind of misbehaving or having those issues?
So younger me, and I say, hey, bro, this is what you about to do. I would be like, yo, sit your butt down and learn this math.
Mm,
That'd be it. Like, I would say well, for most of the stuff, especially stuff that I definitely remember, everything happens for a reason and stuff like that. Even some of the stuff that I felt like I shouldn't have gotten in trouble for. But things build up, you meet people, and everything contributes to who you are. But in terms of some of the just bad stuff or just blah 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 blah, I would definitely like, yo, you need to lock in and really understand this math because you're gonna have to do this math again for the next whatever X amount of years. So might as well just be good at it now. Um, yeah, I mean, I did things as I was in middle school and high school that kind of changed my crowd and changed the way I thought and refocused my future. I think band really played a role in making sure that I was in a good standing and doing the good things I need to do and meeting a lot of people and really getting into like thinking about college really. And so I think I would change a lot of elementary school dumb stuff. But middle school, high school, for the most part, was fun.
nice, nice. All right. And where can students and parents go to learn more about your career field, your organization?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's www.demarcus, demarcusr.com. I think it's com. And then, but if you want to see what I do and some cool videos, definitely check out my website. And if you want to talk about a little more about marine science, there's other cool organizations. Granted, if you're not Black, you could still be a part of it in a way. So there's Black in Marine Science, there's Black Women in Ecology and Evolutionary Marine Science. Really two great organizations. There are MISS, so Minorities in Shark Science. Really great thing if you want to get into shark science. I have a whole list. Those are the top three I can think of right now, just because they're very prominent right now. There's the Black and Birders. So if you're really interested in bird watching, join those groups. Bird watching is a very hot topic nowadays, just because we're seeing a decimation of our bird population. That's another conversation.
Oh,
Yeah, so really anything you want to get into, like there's a lot of organizations out there for it. So if you want an introduction or if you want a list, I got you.
I love that. All right, guys. So this is me and Dr. DeMarcus Robinson signing off. We thank you guys for watching us today. So we'll see you in the next episode. Yeah.
Yeah.